Alright, hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else? I'm here today as your boy Dodger doing some commentator-rooney on some high-level GP Magic the Gathering gameplay. This is, of course, for Grand Prix Lafayette for the MSEM constructed format. We are into game between FrogMaker and Augur. FrogMaker is on a interesting list, which is sort of like a green-black. I don't really know what to call it, like green-black value list, kind of. Augur is playing, I believe, a black-red aggro Villainy deck. I could be wrong. So far... Wait, hang on. Augur actually... Okay, Augur discard. Okay. So, we've got the Magri Oracle coming out on turn 2. Pretty solid 2-drop, I guess. Like, it's not going to... This is the card you usually want to play when you already have a board, but it's still, going to attack for 2 just fine. We've also got, let's see, we've got Merchant of False Lives coming down, which is, this deck is sort of like an Aristocrats deck. We got Merchant of False Lives, which gives you a sec outlet, and then the Magri Oracle giving you like a nice, recurring value engine based on your sec outlet, and also kind of a win con. It helps that Augur paid 4 life to draw 2 cards on turn 2, thanks to the cost of these lands. I'm guessing that, so I can't actually see hands right now because of the settings of the game. I'm guessing that a potential reason why Augur didn't crack the Murky Beat last turn was maybe Augur wanted to make sure that there was another, like the concentration of lands in the deck was high enough. Okay, so turn 3 Villainy is a good play for sure. One interesting thing about Merchant of False Lives is that you can actually sack your creatures to, in response to the Villainy triggers, which can prevent your opponent from getting life. This is really important for like finishing out the game potentially. So it's kind of about whether Augur can stabilize here. Augur's going to be going down to 8. Plus these 2 creatures in play is effectively going down to 6 life. And then whatever creatures FrogMaker adds to the board can also have a big impact there. So we're going to have to see. Again, I wish I had access to players' hands, because then that would make it a lot more easy for me to talk about like potential lines that FrogMaker has. I know that FrogMaker's deck runs Contras, a couple of them, so like maybe you could run one of those out here. I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to see how this goes. So Nebula, 4 mana, 4 cards. Good amount of cards that FrogMaker could drop here. We just gotta wait and see what is going to be dropped. Okay, so we're going to attack for 3. Augur down to 8, I assume. Alright. Wow, nothing, huh? That seems like a bit bizarre. I'm going to take a look. I'm not super familiar with FrogMaker's list, so I'm going to take a look at it. I'm wondering like what FrogMaker could be holding up. There's potential for like Whisperwood exploration or Between Life and Death. I don't know. This is interesting. So now, if you're Augur, you really want to get rid of this Merchant of False Lives first, because that can blank your Villainy. I actually think it's so. If you're Augur, you can expect to gain net 0 life this turn, because you'll kill this. It'll drain you for 1, or actually, yeah. You'll gain net. Okay, so you'll gain net -1 life this turn, based on if Augur casts 2 spells. Okay, so Memento Mori. Okay, so Augur is just gonna have Villainy target face. That makes sense, actually. That way you can't get your triggers blanked by the Merchant. Okay, so Whisper Exploration comes down in response. We're going to see what FrogMaker mills here. 2 lands and another Whisperwood. Alright. Well, you should be able to go ahead and cast that second Whisperwood, if you want. Oh, Pithwill, huh? On the Villainy? Okay. So, like, I just don't see what the point is of not main phasing the Pithwill, I guess. Augur has, I believe, not many like actual targets you'd want to kill besides the Villainy. Yeah, so like, I think that's a bit of a trap. Like holding up that that pivot essentially means you're giving your opponent like 2 free life, or rather 1 free life and a draw. Either way, it's not great. So FrogMaker, FrogMaker got the Scry trigger from the Magri Oracle. I think it's kind of interesting that Frog chose to sack the Magri Oracle instead of the Merchant, because Magri Oracle can kind of like help close the game out on your opponent. So I haven't played very much. I really have no idea how FrogMaker's deck is supposed to play. So perhaps FrogMaker has a plan for keeping that Merchant, and I also don't know FrogMaker's hand, so that's another thing. Okay. So we're going to see the attack for 1. I think at this point, Augur should still be in the driver's seat. Yes, losing Villainy hurts for sure, and it will be. It will kind of depend on like what FrogMaker plays this turn, but okay. So we're seeing 4 mana tapped. What can Frog cast for 4 mana? Oh, 3 mana. Okay, so here's Contra of Old Magic. Okay, cool. Returning the Pithwilt. Okay, so this is basically saying I want insurance for if Augur has another Villainy. I think that makes sense. I think if it were me, I probably would have gone for the Whisperwood, because you can just get back the Pithwilt if you need it anyway, or you might have the potential to get something else, you know? Like, with getting back Whisperwood, you could actually Whisperwood back Contra, and potentially, like, start to loop those, you know? So, like, I don't know. I personally disagree with the Pithwilt choice, but like that depends on whether you think you'll have enough mana to actually like play the Pithwilt, or play the Exploration and then the Pithwilt. So that is a concern. Okay, so we're going to see Lucian the Grifter. Lucian is going to target Merchant of False Lives with the -3, I believe. Yeah. The play should be sack Merchant response. That way you deny your opponent the life, and you also get to mill 2 cards. Yeah. Alright. So there's the sack. Unfortunately, Lucian is not going to die to... Lucian is not going to die to the Pithwilt, so hard to say whether there actually is an answer in FrogMaker's hand right now. I am curious, like, why Whippet Wanderer is in this deck. Maybe there's some kind of combo that I'm not noticing. Let me double check this deck. I have not seen this deck in action at all. Okay. Like, I guess I'm just confused as to what this deck is supposed to do. I feel like Desperate Measures can definitely be really good with these spirits. Okay. So Frog has a Swamp coming out from Wayfarer's Shrine, and Frog is going to cast Spirits of the Shrine for 5. Okay. This is pretty big. Being able to draw 3 immediately is really nice. I think if you're Augur, it's kind of tough to +1 Lucian here, because like you could lose a lot of life if you flip like another Lucian or a Villainy. Although if you flip a Villainy, you're probably getting a lot of that life back. I think Augur should have a removal spell here, given that the deck has many removal spells in it. I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. So I think I wish I could talk about the hands, because like I feel like what's in the hands is like much more interesting than what's on the board, just because like most of the time whatever's on the board is just getting killed immediately, you know. Okay, Dark Bargain. So the fact that you see Dark Bargain cast first sometimes means that your opponent doesn't have an answer, and that they're then digging for one. So usually if it's your opponent's turn, they leave with a card draw spell. It's a good sign. 5 mana is not a good sign. Okay, Xanagan. So Augur actually does not have a way to kill the Spirits of the Shrine. which does mean another 3 cards for FrogMaker if they want it. However, FrogMaker is at 9 now, and is probably going to get attacked by the Lucian for 4. So even though Lucian will die next turn, I don't necessarily think you want to pay 3 life next turn, just because, like, that puts you, like, 3 Xanakin activations / Villainy triggers away from death. Okay, so FrogMaker is going to get attacked for 4. You should not block here. Like, I'm pretty sure you just should never block here. Because you can attack back with that Spirits for killing Lucian next turn anyway. Okay, so Frog's considering their options. Alright, there's the 4 lifelink damage. And that should be it. Yeah, alright. Well, now what are we going to get? Sorry, I'm losing 3. Okay. FrogMaker down to 2 life. I think this is a very strange play. It's essentially just a Hail Mary. I don't think FrogMaker has any way to gain a bunch of life in their deck. Let's see. So, like, I could see some kind of crazy Desperate Measures shenanigans going on right now. Okay, so we're seeing 4 mana. Like, I guess if something's gonna happen, it's gotta happen right now, right? Okay, so saving the green mana. Whippet Bruiser. Germinating. Turning the Spirits into a 4/4. Okay. I'm a little unsure. Okay, so there's the attack for 4. FrogMaker is still going to be dead to the Xanakin activation next turn. Oh, Spirit has lifelink. Okay, I missed that. Whoops. Okay, well, that's not the worst play, I guess. Being able to gain 4 means that, like, you're not dead next turn on board. Augur does have the ability to -3 Xanakin, though, which I think is actually a pretty good play. And Augur should, next turn, if you do that, you probably have the ability to kill the Spirits of the Shrine. Okay, so Nebula comes out. Alright. Is this just to have Pithwilt available, or is there something else that we're trying to do? Okay. So Zulev Rites. This is pretty cool. You can definitely get something interesting to cast here. I think you could get Conjure of Old Magic, which is probably the one you want. You could also go Return Focor. Is anything else in here? No, I believe that's it. Okay, so Conjure of Old Magic is not in the deck anymore. It's in the graveyard. So I think now you have to get Return Focor. Yeah. Okay, so Return Focor, not casting it? Wait, why wouldn't you cast it? You can cast it by inspiriting the Whippet Bruiser. Okay, so that's just gone? Am I missing something here? I don't think I am. Okay. Honorless Offering for 3. Alright. Got a lot of card draw going on in this game. Alright, Xanakin to face. I'm guessing. Maybe you kill the Bruiser. Okay, kill the Bruiser. There's a missed Cradle of Corruption trigger. Oh no, okay, it wasn't missed. Lucian the Grifter. Probably just exile the Spirits too. I think, yeah, given that happened, there's probably no way for FrogMaker to win this game now. I mean, it was pretty dire already. You're gonna get attacked for lethal damage by Xanakin next turn anyway. Yeah, okay. Oh, I just realized that Frog named green with the Nebula instead of black, so they weren't actually able to cast the bow core, so that's just kind of like a whoopsie, you know. Everyone has whoopsies. Oh, it looks like the card that was exiled by... Yeah, okay, yeah. Alright, going to game 2. Okay, so looks like we're probably going to get a remade lobby, just so we can have the setting on where spectators can see hands. I would definitely prefer that, and I'm sure those of you watching this video would prefer that too. So we are going to wait and see if we can get it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and migrate to that other room. Wait. Cool, so we are now ready to go, I believe. So if we look at these sideboards, if you're FrogMaker, I think the issue there was that you had a solid opening start, but you didn't really have enough follow-up. I think Whip It Bruiser is definitely not what you want. It's not going to be able to really do anything in this matchup because it's sorcery speed and the opponent is not running any creatures that are creatures on your turn. Besides that, I think I'm unsure as well about the Whip It Wanderer. Feels much too slow to really have any an impact fast enough for you. I think Dovan would be a good bring in because you want to just kind of curve out and get your big creatures down and beat your opponent up before they can stop you. I think that Copper Guild Mercenary also seems like a very solid plan. I know 4 mana, is a decent amount, but just being able to eat 2 different removal spells is really important. And actually, the second one will have hexproof. I think Reclamation Sage is reasonable because you can kill a Villainy. It's not great, but it should be fine. I think that besides that, none of these cards are worth mentioning. So I would bring in these 3. Probably cut some of the more expensive cards that don't really do anything in this matchup, like Whip It Bruiser. Okay, so we're in game. FrogMaker looks like Sporeflow Protector was also brought in, which I think is fine. The enemy deck doesn't really rely on graveyards at all, but being able to constantly pump out 1/1s or buff your creatures is definitely totally fine. We saw a mulligan from Augur, probably because the Augur's last hand was pretty mana heavy, and now this hand is pretty mana light, so it's kind of awkward. I expect Augur to mulligan this hand too, to be honest. I think this is a pretty solid hand for FrogMaker, though. You got the turn 1 Dovan into turn 2 either Mogri or Sporeflow, and then you can kind of have this Sporeflow Mogri combo where you can potentially get a solid... Okay, so Augur actually kept this hand. Interesting. So Augur is really hoping that they draw into land, because then this hand is actually really, really good. Okay, so we're going to see a turn 1 Wayfarer's Shrine into Dovan. If you're Augur, I assume you lead with Jara Champion here. I could be wrong. Maybe you really would just want the Stolen Secrets. Okay, Jar Champion, yeah. So the hope here is that FrogMaker won't have two blockers. If you attack with Jar Champion next turn, Augur could or FrogMaker could potentially go like block with Dovon plus whatever 2-drop. But maybe Frog decides to go tapped Grim Bastion, and then a 2-drop. I think the proper play if you're FrogMaker here is to go Fungal Mire into Sporeflow. Okay, so going with a tapped Grim Bastion. Okay. This is fine too. Basically, this means that you're going to get Jar Champion up to 2/2, which is still manageable. And it also means you can cast Copperguild Mercenary without paying any life on turn 3. Okay, Lava Torrent Fields is a really big draw. This means you can lead with Stolen Secrets here. I think personally, I think that the technically correct play, this is small, but I think the technically correct play is to lead with Stolen Secrets. You're not gaining any new information by attacking here, so you might as well gain new information with Stolen Secrets before you decide whether or not casting Jar Champion is worth it. I mean, 99% of the time you're going to cast this, but, just to be sure, maybe your opponent has, Vibrant Rapture in hand or something. You know, you never know. So Stolen Secrets coming out. Naming, I assume, Creature. If you name Creature here, yeah, that's actually really, really good, because you get to take the Copperguild Mercenary, and that card is actually pretty hard to beat right now. I guess Lucian can take it out, but still, yeah. You 100% take the Mercenary here. There's no world in which you don't take Mercenary here. Yeah, okay. Cool, so we are moving on to the next turn. The Sporeflow does have one ability active now, or one activation of its ability available now, which is good. We're gonna see Whisperwood Exploration drawn, which is a good card in this matchup for sure. Being able to Riku the Copperguild is actually pretty important. Although Copperguild definitely doesn't stack up super well against double Lucian, but it's unclear if Augur's ever going to actually be able to cast those Lucians at the moment. Okay, so we're going to see Mogbury Oracle come down. So basically the current thought is don't attack in, hold back the Sporeflow so that you can threaten a 3/4 blocker. So FrogMaker is essentially playing this with the control mindset. FrogMaker wants to stall out the game and try to make sure that the board is secure. I disagree with that. Well, I guess actually, never mind. I think that attacking is a bit rough, given that you're going to buff both Jar Champions. So, yeah, maybe that isn't great. Augur drawing a Performer here is pretty weak. It means that you basically have to skip a turn. The champions aren't getting buffed at all, and Frog gets to develop their board. So actually, this is a pretty solid situation for Augur, for FrogMaker. So we're going to see the Fetchland Crack. I expect FrogMaker to cast Whisperwood Exploration, but I could also see activating Sporeflow here. Okay, so this Whisperwood comes down. Let's see what happens here. Copperguild, Pithwilt. Okay, so Whip Wanderer was actually kept in. Alright, now what are we going to see? So we're going to see Pithwilt being returned. I think that's probably the right pick. Just because so much of Augur's power right now rests on these two Jar Champions, and getting rid of one of them is already going to be very good. I think this is also a very interesting card to see here. There are two Copperguild Mercenaries in the graveyard. And I believe FrogMaker is currently at the ability to produce 5 mana. So one more land drawn, and that's 2 Copperguild Mercenaries coming back. That is actually a really big game. Okay, I don't agree with paying 2 life here. That's going to give both Jar Champions +1/+1. Yeah, I don't see why you would pay 2 life here. It doesn't allow you another activation of Sporeflow. It doesn't. I guess it allows you to go 2 Sporeflow plus Dovon, or Sporeflow Pithwilt Dovon, but I Actually, no, it doesn't even, because this essentially costs 2 mana too. Okay, and there's the third land for Augur. I think Augur now has a solid shot at coming back into this game. These Jar Champions are going to get out of hand pretty quick, given that they can attack safely again. I guess you can't attack with both of them, but still, I think that this is like... This is pretty tough for Frog. So Augur is essentially going to try to bait out a Pithwilt. I think casting Pithwilt here is not a great play. You should try to kill this in combat instead. Oh, okay. So the reason that casting Pithwilt in combat here is not great is because, first of all, your opponent has another Jara champion with the same stats. Okay. Yeah. So we got the Scry trigger. We're gonna see the Villainy come out from Augur here, though, and like, so the other thing is like using Pithwilt on something that isn't a Villainy is always really risky, and I think that given that it's not even like your opponent has the same creature. Okay, so we're gonna see Performer of Ambition. Interesting. I think this is actually a good one because like, oh boy. Okay, so there's the Swamp. So Between Life and Death for 2 Copper Guild Mercenaries is a play that Frog can make, and I think it's a very good play. One thing I will say is I think that choosing not to use the Spore Flow Protector on end step was a mistake. I think you can just exile your opponent's stuff, and it's just like free. I don't see why you wouldn't use it there, but okay, we'll see how it goes. Frog is probably thinking about, okay, is it worth it to go for this Between Life and Death play? If it means that Performer of Ambition can transform. That is, like, you know, a fair thing to think about. Performer of Ambition transformed is going to be quite large and able to gain a lot of life. I think that, again, this would not be as much of a deal if, as big of a deal if, like, you had remembered to use the Spore Flow Protector trigger last turn, but it's still not like a huge... It doesn't matter that much. Okay, Vibrant Rapture is a really good draw here, for sure. Augur does have creatures in play, though, so it's not... Actually, Vibrant Rapture is a really weak draw here. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me, I'm an idiot. Okay, so we're going to see the Villainy cast here. Oh, we're going to see the Vibrant Rapture. Okay. So essentially, Augur here is trying to force some Spore Flow triggers, Spore Flow activations, to get rid of the Dovin and the Mogbre Oracle. This is also going to allow a ramp into Lucian next turn, potentially. What Frog can do, though, is just Germinate twice and buff up the Mogbre and the Dovin. And those now will not die of the Vibrant Rapture. But the drawback is, of course, that if Augur does attack with that Performer of Ambition, it's going to transform. So you are kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I think that if you're a FrogMaker, you need to cast the Between Life and Death, and or you need to float the mana with Dovin and then cast Between Life and Death. I think that... Okay, so Frog's going for the 2 Germinate play. The problem here is that Augur will almost certainly attack with the Performer of Ambition. It's going to become a 6/6. Yeah. So I think the play was pretty intelligent from Augur to force out these activations first. Yeah, so we got the Performer of Ambition coming in. Discarding a Lucian. Now, getting that Between Life and Death out of the hand is a really big deal. It is a pretty brutal thing for FrogMaker to have to discard. And honestly, like, it might have just been worth it to, like, let the Vibrant Rapture resolve, cast Between Life and Death, and get back 2 4/4s. Like, that's definitely better than being stuck with, like, you know, a Dovin and a Mogbre Oracle. Yeah, so I think that's a bit of a misplay from Frog there. Also pretty heads up from Augur to main phase that Vibrant Rapture instead of like, and just try to get the few blockers out of the way. I don't think it was Augur's intention to be like, oh, I'm gonna try to get the Germinate triggers out so they can't cast their instant spell, you know? But like that ended up working out well. Okay, so we're gonna exile. Yeah, okay. So just a jump block with the 1/1. Yeah, there's no need to sack the Jar Champion to give the Urchin King lifelink. You wanna also save that in case your opponent draws a Pith Quilt. The fact that Frog has 0 cards in hand though is going to be pretty rough for them. And the main thing that Frog still has going for them is that the Spore Flow is still in play, so that means it's going to be worth like 3 more tokens, or you can really buff up one of your creatures if you want. I don't know. I think Frog is pretty draw dependent at this point, while Augur still has a Villainy and Lucian in hand, and that's going to go a long way, especially now that this Urchin King is going to be around. I'm a little confused. What was Augur searching? What was Frog searching their library for? Oh, the Scry. Okay. That was a bit confusing. Okay, Augur draws a Grim Bastion. Very bad draw for sure. I do think that like the effectiveness of the Urchin King is going to be reduced by quite a lot, given that this Spore Flow is around. So it's definitely not like the be-all end-all of this game. But I think that something that is the be-all end-all of this game is that Villainy in hand. Okay, so we're going to see a tapped Grim Bastion come out. You do have 6 activated abilities available. Okay. I think if you're Augur, you're actually quite happy with that second Villainy draw. Sure, you have to spend a turn to cast the Villainy right now, but next turn you cast your second Villainy, and then after that, the game is essentially over. Okay, so the Urchin King is going to be shrunk down by a lot because of this 4-foot protector here, though. Alright, we got the Jar Champion coming in. You can actually just buff your Spore Flow Protector to a 5/6. And then, like, sack your Mogri Oracle. I think that is the best thing you can do here. If you're Frog. Okay. Huh, so Frog is choosing to make 2 Saprolings and double chump. I think that this is not the worst plan, just because, like, you will get those Mogri Oracle triggers, and that's certainly something. Okay, so we got 2 Mogri Oracle triggers, we got a Villainy trigger. Alright, Dark Bargain draw for Augur is definitely really good. Okay, so it's hard to say like what Frog really wants to get here. Probably actually Contra's not even that good because you're exiling most of the cards in your graveyard that are good. Maybe just getting back between life and death with Contra is enough to win. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Pith Quilt would definitely be nice. Being able to kill the Lucian will help a lot. Seems like Frog is thinking about what to, whether to put back this card or get rid of it. Sometimes you just gotta cut the bad cards out of your life, you know? You see a bad card, and it's just like... It keeps telling you that it's a good card, but you know that it's never gonna change. It's always gonna be a bad card. You just gotta cut it out of your life sometimes. Okay, so exiling the Mercenary. And should also exile... Okay, so Dovon is now a 2-3. Okay. You can actually attack into the Merchant King here. You can also just straight up kill the Merchant King if you go activate Dovon, and then activate Swareflow. Oh, Pithbolt draw is huge. Okay, so the play here is activate Swareflow, activate Dovon, Urchin King dies, let your opponent draw their card. Okay, and then Pithbolt the Villainy. You can also go Pithbolt the Villainy, activate Swareflow twice. Oh no, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. You could go Pithbolt the Villainy, activate Swareflow twice, activate Dovon. That would work. Or you could Pithbolt the Jara Champion. Yeah, I don't like this at all. Pithbolting the Jara Champion, like, yeah, okay, it's a 6/6, but it's also like you have like infinite jump blockers more or less. You're also at 17 life. Yeah, that is a play that I'm not going to agree with. I think the better play for sure is to go Pithbolt Villainy and then do the shenanigans like I described. Actually, I believe you're 1 mana short on those shenanigans if you try that. Yeah, okay, never mind. That wouldn't quite work either. I still think that Pithbolt should be targeted at the Villainy. Like I suppose it's not awful. It feels to me like you have answers for the Jara Champion with your creatures, but you don't really have answers for Villainy in a prolonged game. Okay, we actually got Villainy number 2 coming down here. So that's going to eat the Mogwai Oracle. Although Sporeflow Protector has an activation available, so that's going to be a bit tricky. Maybe you just go after one of the Saprolings. Or like the Sapling. Yeah, so I think if you're Augur, you're basically just trying to... one thing you could do if you're Augur is you could run out Dark Bargain first and hope to draw a Swamp. That is definitely a risky play, so Augur just goes for the... Okay, so targeting the Oracle I think is not the right play because you're just walking into the Sporeflow trigger for a counter. Or Sporeflow activation, sorry. Just want to remind Frog that they're sacking the Bastion for mana. Okay. Sounds good. Alright, so Desperate Measures is definitely, like, I think the most compelling reason to play this deck, just because there are very stupid things you can do with this in conjunction with the Contras, but unfortunately it is a dead draw here. So Augur gets to draw 2 cards here. The fact that Augur has drawn this many cards and still has not hit any more than 3 lands is kind of sad. Augur is now down to 2. I think if Augur hits another land here, you can go Villainy and then Dark Bargain, and that should be enough to win the game still. But it is pretty dicey. Okay, there you go. That's what you need. Yeah, so I think... I also think that Frog shouldn't have used 2 green sources to activate the Spore Flow, because now you only have 1 activation up, which is actually probably going to be relevant. So Augur will 100% go Villainy here. Followed by Dark Bargain. I feel like that is the only play. Yeah. Alright. Villainy. Both triggers go for the Oracle. Okay. Yeah, so this is basically saying, like, kill the Oracle first so that I don't take a bunch of damage from the Oracle triggers. Okay. In response, casting Desperate Measures. Okay. That is GG, right? Wait. Oh no! Oh my friend. You had lethal. I guess that works too. The villainy triggers will kill the Augur too. We'll kill Augur too. Okay. I did not think at all about how you can get the death triggers from. Okay. Wow, I must be really tired because I did not even notice that. Well, there you go. Yeah, alright. FrogMaker gets it done. And you know, I ended up disagreeing with a lot of FrogMaker's choices, but at the end of the day, FrogMaker pulls it out. I think a large part of that was probably due to how the Spore Flow Protector interacted with the Urchin King. And also the fact that Augur was stuck on 3 lands for a while and wasn't really able to play Villainy with good tempo. That is definitely going to be a little tough. Okay, I'm going to grab some water real quick before I start to get into Game 3. Alright, hey, what up? I'm back. Okay, so we got both players keeping 7. We got Murky Pete on turn 1 from Augur. Gonna go get a basic swamp, and we're gonna see turn 1 Dark Bargain, I believe. Perhaps turn 1 Stolen Secrets. Okay, turn 1 Stolen Secrets. Naming creature? Okay, so we're gonna get that Spore Flow out. Essentially the reason Augur went for the turn 1 Stolen Secrets is you're probably wary of, like, a Dovin on turn 1 that you won't be able to answer efficiently. Like, you could Memento Mori it, but you don't really want to Memento Mori a Mandork. Alright. So we're seeing the turn 1 Stolen Secrets. Merchant of False Lives. So the problem with this hand that FrogMaker kept is that I think it is worth keeping. It's just it's not a hand that's going to present a clock. So you are hoping to outgrind the Villainy deck. And having 2 Pithwelts is definitely going to help. So we're going to see the turn 2 Performer of Desire. I think that is definitely worth spending a Pithwelt on. It is a card that is going to kill you if you don't answer it. So, yeah. I think drawing a second Merchant is pretty unfortunate. This card is not going to really... It's not really going to help you much beyond the first. Okay, so we're going to see Murky Pete. Sacrificing it for basic swamp, I assume. Yeah, we're gonna see Pithwelt cast here. Yep. All right. There you go. It is now Augur's turn. Woo. Augur will probably go. Maybe just go triple Armless Offering here. Yeah. That seems like the plan. Whew. All right. Picking up 2 more lands is fine, given that you still have a Dark Bargain in hand. Spirits of the Shrine, okay. If you're FrogMaker here, I think you start to get worried about not hitting your land drop. It's pretty hard to outgrind somebody when you're only operating with 3 mana. I am curious why the naming white. I don't really see why you would ever need white mana. Unless I'm crazy. Yeah, I don't really see why either. But, maybe there's some kind of bluff going on, or I don't know. Okay, so we're going to see Merchant coming down. Augur drew another land. Now we're going to see Dark Bargain being cast. Oh, okay, Jar Champion is definitely good here. It's going to be like a little slower than usual coming down on turn 4, and then Augur already cast Dark Bargain, so you're not going to be able to, you know, like, have the champion. Okay, so, or you, like, have the champion get buffed right now? The question, I think, for Frog is this worth actually Pithwelting? And I think the answer is no. You've got 2 Death Touch creatures out already, and you need to have that Pithwelt to save for a Villainy. So if I'm Frog, I'm not Pithwelting this. I'm just playing the second Merchant and passing. But, I don't know. We'll see what Frog decides to do. Because, like, I don't think that my like what I would do in that situation is like 100% the right play all the time. But my reasoning is that, okay, so Frog actually agrees with me. Frog is going to play the second merchant. Yeah. So this is blanking the champion's attack. This is developing the board a little more. This is saving the pit wilt for the potential villainy. All good things. So we're going to see Dark Bargain being correct. Lucian, okay, so that's a good draw for Augur. It is a little awkward that Lucian doesn't really slot in well on this board, I don't think. Okay, so Honorless Offering is definitely a reasonable draw. Okay, so we're gonna see Memento Mori being cast here. Okay, so basically this is the play. You want to try to. So Frog decided not to mill. The reasoning behind that maybe is the Urchin King, but I don't really see why you wouldn't mill here. I think that's just a mistake. Alright. Honorless Offering here. Augur goes to 9. Jar Champion goes to 3/3. FrogMaker goes to 13. Okay, Dark Bargain is a pretty... Let's see. Oh, Monument is also a really good draw here. I think overall, if I'm Augur, I'm very happy with how this game's going. You've got a Jar Champion attacking for 3. You've got your opponent stuck on 3 lands, well, you have 5. Your opponent also only has 1 creature in play. Okay, Chi Li is not a good draw here. It's very easy for Augur to kill this. And, okay, so we're going to see Chi Li getting cast, I guess. Basically, this is like a last-ditch effort to stop the Jar Champion, but I think at this point you have to Pithbolt the Jar Champion. It is the thing that's killing you now. So I don't agree with playing the Chi Li there, but... I don't know. Okay, so Enter Mephisto's Gate is drawn for Augur. Removal spell number 5037. Okay. 2 mana. Enter Mephisto's Gate, targeting Chi Li, I assume. Okay, so now Frog decides to second mill. Okay. Milling 2 lands feels pretty bad. Yeah. Not great. Okay, so there's the attack for 3. Jar Champion gets buffed. Alright. There's still a land play available here. I think you just drop Lucian. Yeah. -3 the merchant. Oh, you can plus Lucian, I guess. You're not in a ton of danger. Oh, just the plus to animate. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I actually think that's definitely the right play. Yeah. Merchant of False Lives is not a good draw here. You just need another land. You have 2 cards in your hand that are essentially blank. You have a third one that's essentially skipping a turn because you can't play anything else. And like Pithwilt, which I think is the play. I mean, you Pithwilt the champion, you attack the Lucian. You hope you somehow have an answer for Lucian next turn, which I don't think this deck has an answer for Lucian. I think his hand is very, very different if you have Scoreflow, and are able to get it through. I mean, Scoreflow probably just gets Memento Mori'd anyway, so it's not like a huge difference, but I don't know. Okay, so Pithbolt targeting the Jar Champion, sure. Merchant of False Lives is not attacking Lucian. I don't really see why not. I don't think you'll expect... Like, maybe you want to go block sack when Lucian attacks next turn. I guess that's reasonable. If you're Augur, you could go Performer double pump, and then attack for a lot of damage. Okay, or you can just start animating Monument. So we're going to see a block sack. Okay. I think there's a hit for 1. I think if you're Augur, you go Stolen Secrets here and then play Performer. You don't need more cards. You just need to win the game. I mean, technically, Stolen Secrets is probably the play in mid phase 1. Like, there's no reason to like attack and then Stolen Secrets. Huh. Okay, so Augur decided not to cast Stolen Secrets at all. I'm not sure what the reasoning here is. Maybe you're scared of like some kind of haste creature, but I don't think FrogMaker's deck has any haste creatures. You can still hold up Memento Mori even after casting Stolen Secrets. You can still activate Monument even after. Yeah, I don't really get why you wouldn't cast Stolen Secrets here. But you know, that's all right. Like you are so far ahead at this point that I don't think it's like a huge deal to hold the secrets, but. So Frog passes the turn. We're going to see Between Life and Death come out. Returning, I believe, Merchant plus Sporeflow is probably the pick. Merchant plus Chile. Okay. I mean, I think you just get you really want Sporeflow here. I don't really see what getting Merchant is going to do for you. Like maybe Frog is sticking for like Conjure of Old Magic or something. Okay, another Performer. Is this lethal here for Augur? No, there are blockers for Lucian. Attacking with Performer costs like 6 mana. I mean, it does hit for 6. Actually, doesn't it hit for 8? Am I crazy? Okay, so there's the Memento Mori. Chile's gone. So then the Lucian minus Merchant is going to stack itself, I assume. You're going to see the Monument attack for either 3 or 4 damage. Okay, now it's time for secrets. Okay, so getting that Whisperwood. I think Augur is mainly just concerned with like getting rid of Pithbolt, but you know, getting rid of Whisperwood is fine too. Monument of Queens is in the air, attacking for 3. All right, yeah, this game should be over, 100%. Cast Performer, Desire for Combat, sure, yeah. Yeah, okay, that's GG. Return to Boatcore doesn't do anything here. Alright, so, I think FrogMaker's deck was definitely interesting. I think that there are definitely some card choices that could be made that, like, could improve the deck's potency. I think the most powerful thing the deck does is definitely use stuff like Desperate Measures with the Contras, so I would look to expand that, and I would cut the, like, the kind of subpar mid-range creatures like Whip-Whip Bruiser and Whip-Whip Wanderer. Those feel a little unnecessary. But we'll have to see. I mean, like, it's definitely an interesting deck, and it was capable of grinding along with Villainy for a while in some games, so, like, I'd be interested in exploring it. Overall, I think it was a good match. Cool, so until next time, that will be all you're hearing from me. This has been Dodger. See you later.